Are you confused about Amazon ads? Would you like to drive more traffic to a new listing, but just don't know where to begin? Well, that's exactly the topic that I reviewed recently with my author work group that's facing week 12 and getting ready to publish their first books. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek of some of that session with you today. Feel free to post comments and tell me a little bit about your author experience. Are you running Amazon ads? Are you getting ready to launch a book? Give me a little bit of information and post your questions below, and I'm happy to answer each one. Let's get started. Before I jump into the sometimes confusing world of Amazon ads, I'll try to kind of give you an overview. Basically, it's more trial and error because not everything that I do that works for me in my books is going to work for you in your book. So at least if we get an opportunity to kind of talk through things and get an overview, and I'll show you what you do with Amazon ads. So Bobby has a lot of books, and some of the ads have kind of been dormant for a while. So we started working on going through and reworking ads. And sometimes when you do that, you have to start at a higher bid just to get things moving. So that's some of what we'll see here today. Well, there's a few different ways to get into the ad area. You can go to this marketing tab here and then scroll down and you'll see Amazon ads. You'll choose the market and then you can click create campaign and go to your marketing tab, go here to choose your .com and create a campaign. When you come up with this to create a new campaign, the other thing is if you just want to look at your campaign manager and you're not interested in creating a campaign, you can just click on this little icon here that says campaign manager. All right, so campaign manager, whatever you choose for your date range here is what displays up here on your chart. So if I said, show me lifetime, it will show all of the months that we've been working through this. And if I choose last 7 days, so if you go in and you want to, check your ads once a week, then you could just change this date range and take a look at it by the week or by the month. What I normally do is last 30 days, and I want to see how things have been performing. You have a default usually that comes together up here. Spend is how much you've spent on ads in that period of time. Remember, it's the 30-day period that we've selected. Sales is how many sales you've received on Amazon based on the ads. So in other words, what can be attributed to ads? If somebody clicked, you paid for the click, and that turned into a purchase, then it gets logged here. I should also say that this dashboard here can easily fall a few days behind and can easily get out of sync sometimes and look strange. It's just sometimes what happens on Amazon, and it's obviously there are issues and they usually correct it after a few days. So it could be changing. You could have had a lot more sales. There could be some things coming in that have just not hit the dashboard yet. Impressions are how many times has your ad been put on a page that somebody was browsing? I used to say, how many times has somebody seen your ad? However, what I realize is that I may just look 1/3 of the way down the page, but if I keep scrolling, there are a bunch of other ads down there that I have not seen. I did not visually look at those ads, but yet it counts as an impression because the page was refreshed. I potentially could have seen it. It was down there. Whether I look at it or not, it just counts as an impression. Okay. So don't think of it like 436,000 people have looked at Bobby's book. They may not have. They may not have seen that. Okay. This is the number of orders that have come from the number of the clicks that have gone through. This ACOS, that's advertising cost of sales. By the way, do you see how any one of these I can just hover over and it gives me some additional information? This says the number of times ads were displayed for impressions. Orders is the number of Amazon orders placed by customers that are attributed to your ads. And then ACOS is the percentage of your sales that you spent on advertising. So you spend this much, and 664 out of 1052 in sales, that fraction of these two is what the ACOS fraction is all about. It's just the division of these two. Okay, so you can change the way this graph looks, but you can also add a different metric. So if I click on these metrics, I can open a different one and choose, like maybe I want to see how many clicks. Maybe that's important to me. Maybe I want to see impressions over clicks. So whatever two things I clicked on last, it's going to rearrange this. So for me, normally I just do impressions and then orders. Typically, I want to see how many impressions were there, because you can see some great things by looking at this graph. And you can see if impressions start to go down. Now, this could mean one of two things. This could mean that we're not seeing the full picture here yet because the dashboard's a little behind. Or maybe when I adjusted the bid, which I did recently, now Amazon's showing the ads less. So you can kind of see what happens and then the ups and downs of where the orders go. So even though Amazon showed it less, some of the changes I made resulted in 4 orders instead of over here, there were no orders, even though there were a lot more impressions. So as I adjust ads, you get to see a little bit about how this graph changes over time. On the left side, we have a couple of portfolios. Now, you'll see the plus sign here, create portfolio. What the heck is a portfolio? Well, think about it as a collection. I'm going to create one for the how-to books. If Bobby wanted to push the how-to books and we wanted to do some ads just for there, or maybe set up different rules for those books, maybe she's willing to spend a little more money on those ads than she is on the others. So we're just going to do how-to, and we're going to say create a portfolio for the how-to. So now we can click to modify the portfolio and we can set a cap on that budget. So for example, if Bobby says, I want to spend a couple $100s a month on this portfolio, this how-to really focus on these. And then maybe the other ads, I'll spend $200 all of the others. So you can use this to actually cap your budget. You can say, I want to do a monthly budget, or I want to do over a specific date range. I want to spend a certain amount of money and focus on. One good example for why you might want to do a date range is, for example, if you've got a holiday book and from September to December, you want to invest additional money in really, really pushing ads on your book for a Christmas book, then that can help you drive sales. One of my authors that released her first Christmas book made $40,000 in the period from November and December on that one book. Can you imagine? So this year, we're looking at starting her ads much sooner and putting the extra financing and funding into those ads over the course of time. So she'll set up a portfolio for that Christmas book. She'll throw a lot more money at it because she knows it has a huge potential for return on investment. And then you can add campaigns to it. You can add campaigns that already exist into this portfolio, or you can create a new campaign and just make sure that it gets attributed to this particular portfolio. I wish Amazon would do a better job at reporting and helping us to match all these things up, but they just don't. And what adds a little bit of extra complexity to it too is that for some authors, if you're using, for example, Seller Central, or you're using something having to do with Ingram Spark, many authors will put ads together from KDP that when they drive those ads, instead of somebody actually buying one of the KDP books, they go off and buy one of the ones on Seller Central, or they buy the linked book that is on Ingram Spark. That's a hardcover version or a soft cover. And all of those sales that happen outside of Amazon don't get tallied here at all. At the end of the month, have to say, okay, I spent this much. I made this much in royalties through Amazon in that month. I also made this much money on Ingram Spark. I also made this much money in the Amazon Seller Central, and kind of compile it yourself into a report that you can decide how profitable are those ads. I will dig up a budget spreadsheet that I've used in the past that allows me to just analyze those things and see how profitable the ads are. And that might give you a little bit of a tool to use when you're doing your own comparisons for your Amazon ads. You have to put a card on file when you're setting up Amazon ads. And when $250 is spent, then they'll take their money, your credit card or whatever you've set up for payment. If you're seeing that happen a few times in a month, it's probably because you've spent $700 or $750. And so if you're doing that, they take their money out immediately. But sales that you've made on your books, they get paid 3 months later. So immediately take the money, but not give you your credit until later. And the same thing happens with Ingram Spark. Your money starts to come in after a few months, and it's able to help feed and pay for new ads. And hopefully you've got profit to put back into your books and into other things. I wish it was easier. Amazon hasn't gotten that level of reporting. It doesn't report very well. I'm going to just go into Amazon for a second and show you. So here we're on Amazon, and I'm just going to search for Ninja books. Okay. Mary owns Ninja books because she spends a lot of money and effort, and she has this huge Ninja book series, right? So this is a brand ad. It is right at the top of the page. You must have 3 books to run one, but it's a very effective ad that when people search for a term that you are advertising for, it allows you to have this nice branded ad that, again, this is the only position that it'll ever be shown in. And this will give you an opportunity to kind of get those lazy folks that don't want to go and scroll. But I'm always looking, oh, what is that? That's cool. Let me go and dig into that. So this is all the brand ad. When we come down here, we see sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. These are all showing up here because Mary is running ads. And so these came up as a result of ads. Now, this very first book here has no sponsored. So this is ranked number 1 organically. She doesn't have to pay for this. So here, all these Ninja books, they're all organically ranked number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 for the term Ninja books. 5, 6, 7, 8. Are we getting the idea here? These are all Mary's books. Now, we're finally at a point when we get here of somebody else showing up for a Ninja book. Books you may like, but here when you're inside of a product and you scroll down, they'll show the frequently bought together. This is not an ad as much as it is just Amazon saying, people also bought these things when they bought this. So do you want to group them together and make a little bit more money or spend a little more money and get all this? So it's helpful for Amazon. It's helpful for any books that are associated with the one you're looking at. Those will also show up here as an opportunity for people to purchase. But now we're here and we see sponsored. All of these are all sponsored ads. This section here, people can go over. And all of this, these are people that have decided to put some ad money on appearing on a page on the product. They've either targeted Mary's Ninja book specifically or a term that Amazon feels is very much related to this particular book. So these sponsored products are all targeting Ninja. And if I were to click on any of these, when I click, that's when the author actually pays money based on their bid. So if, let's just say it costs 30 cents, if I click on this because it's an ad, if this is a 30-cent bid that Mary has on this particular item, then when I click on this, it's going to charge her 30 cents for that click. When they just show it here, you're not paying anything for Amazon to just show your book. You only pay when there's a click. What we want is clicks to turn into sales. So if every 5 clicks you sell a book, That's not a bad conversion rate. You'll end up making some money there. And it's okay to pay for, say, 30 cents a click if after 5 of them, that's, $1.50 or so, you're going to make $5 or $6, right? You have to run ads typically to get the traffic, get your book seen, help with branding. Look at the branding that Mary has on her books. It's just crazy. How can you not know Mary when it comes to people that are looking at ninja books, right? Let's look at Bobby's fairy books. Let's just see how that comes up. Hey, so Bobby has this brand ad that is number 1 on the page, right? It's right up here with her Not Fairy, Freckle Fairy, and Fart Fairy. We're looking at this. It's not costing her anything to have this brand out there unless somebody actually clicks on it. But what it is doing is it's associating fairy books with these. If I search for something else and then there's Bobby's books again, and then, sooner or later, that branding makes people want to get curious and go click on something. Now, there's other books down here. We've got, let's just see. These are not sponsored ads. Oh, I want to show you this too. This is a new type of ad. It says sponsored. It's a video ad. And this is something that you can do if you have a certain type of account. You've got this cute little video that can play. You've got an image. And the way that it's positioned, it's a really eye-catching, especially because the video, it moves, and anything with movement is going to catch somebody's eye. Okay. And here we have, let's keep going. Oh yeah, here we go. We do have more sponsored. So it's, last time we looked at Mary's ninja books and the ninja term, they didn't have any sponsored ones at the bottom of the page, but here we do see sponsored, 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 sponsored. So there's some sponsored ads that get thrown in between, in down the page. And then here's Bobby's book. This is just her organic ranking for the Freckle Fairy. So organically, she's way down here, down the page. But yet, because of our ad, the Freckle Fairy is right at the top, right here, one of the very first things that you see. Princess books, whatever, just try. And what I would do if I were you and you were starting to think about ads and thinking about, what kinds of things should I do with ads? Take some terms that you feel that your target audience is going to want to be searching for your book using this term. Like if it's a princess books here, when we put that in, we've got a whole bunch of different books here. Find those that are direct competitors and start writing down the names of those books. Grab the ASIN if you can. I have a tool, if you haven't already installed the free Chrome extension, which for Helium 10, go and do it. And I have some instructions in the course that will explain to you how to do that. I'll also make a note of it under the video and with a link to where you can get it. But this will allow me to just click with one click, get every single book here exported to a list that I can go back and view later with all of the ASINs, the title of the book, the author name. You can start gathering information for yourself about the search terms and the books that are ranked for that search term. I want to show you one other thing here. This is something that's new with brand ads. So you saw previously what I showed you with Bobby's brand ad and the Ninja brand ad for Mary. It had 3 books and it had like a little logo and just a little short, but it didn't have this big picture over here. Well, now they're allowing you to add a lifestyle photo and a custom image that will capture people's attention. So now that they are allowing this, you have this beautiful, complete, full brand ad across that can help you get some information out around your brand, having a child holding the book or something that really shows how your product is being used. It goes a long way towards helping, people want to go click further. Like I can see this big image with this big book here, and I can see that's the book, The Dirt Girl. If I wanted to go see it, I see how many reviews it has. It's available for Prime, and it does a really great job. It also, you can see here, it's got a logo there, Jody D. and it's got kind of a tagline that it allows you to put above your brand ad. So if it's something like, Easter fun for the kids, and Easter's coming, that's a great opportunity to put some kind of tagline that's going to speak to an event that's coming or speak directly to your target audience and make them want to say, oh, I want to see this. For example, if I was somebody that is trying to purchase social emotional books for my kids, and it says social emotional learning for ages 4 to 8, or social emotional learning from Little Labradoodle Publishing, something here that's going to speak to them, then it's going to be more likely that your target audience is going to find you, click on that, and take action. I'm starting to see some things here. Look at this. Princess Books for Children recommended by readers on Goodreads. So because Amazon and Goodreads are now one, or they've purchased Goodreads, I'm starting to see more integration of things within Goodreads and Amazon. So interesting to see how some of that will come together. Did you also notice as we're scrolling through this is like a sea of information. What makes you stop? Teacher's pick, right? Video, bestseller badges. So having those things, maybe an award on a front cover, a really attractive cover that stands out, editor's pick, limited time deal, right? So if there's an opportunity to make sure that you're able to get some of these things going for you, certainly a poor design cover is not going to stand out. People aren't going to click on it, even if you sponsor that cover and, pay for ads for it. So cover design is really important. You have an opportunity to submit for an award, even if it's reader's favorite and it's the silver medallion. It's just another thing that's going to grab somebody's attention. I know for me, when I'm scrolling through things and I see a couple of them have medallion or awards, I'm probably going to look at those first. If there's a couple of bestsellers, I might look at those as well. And getting these editors' picks and things like that, they help get attention for your book as well. Next, I'm going to go back into the campaign area. And I'm going to talk about the type of campaigns that we can set up. So first, there's an automatic campaign. So automatic ads are the simplest ones to run. And what it basically says is, Amazon, you know about my book. You know the title, the subtitle, you know what categories I'm in, you know what keywords I have. And you also know about your readers and what they search for and what they like, because they track everything about us when we're on Amazon, right? So an automatic ad just allows Amazon to put our book in front of others that they think might want to buy the book. That could be somebody searching on or looking at another specific book that Amazon thinks might be related to yours. It might be anybody that's browsing a specific genre that your book is in, and Amazon says, hey, we're going to give some love to this new book that just launched. And I should say that Amazon will do that when you first launch a book. They give you some extra love and attention for what we call a honeymoon period, and that may be only 30 days long, but you get some extra impressions and some opportunities to see whether your book will do well. So you're going to put your book out there, and if you set up an automatic ad, it's going to go put your book out, and people that Amazon thinks will be a good match for your book will have an opportunity to click on it. If the click turns into a buy, Amazon says, wow, this is highly relevant. I want to keep showing it for this term and that term. So it gives Amazon an opportunity to learn more about which terms are working, which people are buying the book, what things are not working, and they stop putting it in front of things that are not selling. So remember, Amazon wants to make money as well, right? So when people convert and they buy the book, not just click, because a click, Bobby and I could both be spending the same 32 cents on bids. But if my book converts better and Amazon thinks is more highly relevant to the individual, then they'll push mine. If yours starts not converting, they'll start moving it down in the order. So it will rank less for that term. So it's a lot of trial and error. And it starts with just giving them an automatic ad. And it's so simple to create. So I'm going to go ahead and take a step now and just create this very simple ad that I think you should all do once everything starts moving forward. And it's very simple. And I think you'll see that anyone can pull an automatic ad together. I'm here in the campaign manager, and there's a create campaign right here. And you're going to create an automatic ad that's part of the sponsored products. We're going to do an automatic ad. Those brand ads that I was telling you about are here. And then sponsored display is something that's only eligible for people that have a certain type of account. So you probably will not see that here. You might see in its place lock screen ads. And normally I don't bother with lock screen ads because that's when the Kindle goes to sleep and then you come back and you refresh it. You see ads on the Kindle. To me, that just hasn't converted really well. So we're going to go to sponsored products. We're going to click continue. What I typically do is I try to create a naming convention that works really well. Normally, it's some kind of an acronym about the book. I'll just use the word master, an automatic ad for the Mastering the Art of Writing Children's Books that Bobby just released. So I'll just use the word master. You can, choose whatever acronym that specifically tells what book you're going to be running. And then the type of ad. So I'm going to say auto. And then I'm going to do 52-cent bid. Actually, you know what? I'll do just for the sake of seeing whether an automatic ad for 14 cents could really do anything. I typically put, what am I going to start the bid at, the bidding, and then the date. So what's today? It's 4/12. So 4/12/22. So when I'm looking at this in a bunch of other ads, I can see it's for Bobby's mastering book. It's an automatic ad. It's 14 cents and it was created on 4/12/22. So it gives me a lot of information. So I've been doing this for a long time. And normally if I'm starting fresh, I'll start with maybe a 32-cent ad. And unless it's around like Christmas time or coming up on a big holiday, then you might have to start with 52 or even more. But I know typically I'm going to start with 32 cents. I may create an automatic ad at 14 cents and maybe another one at 32 and see if this 14-cent one does okay. It's going to be spending a lot less per click and it might even be more profitable. Who knows? So I'll experiment with a few different ones and see what will work for your ad. See at what point will that 14-cent bid, if it's too low, it will get 0 impressions. It will just get nothing. And then I know, okay, I got to go in and adjust it and turn it up. I'm going to try 25 cents or I'm going to try 30 cents. Start low and then go up a little more and a little more. If you're just launching a book, you probably want to start around 32 or 36 cents. If you really want to make sure things get pushed forward, you can just accept the suggested bid, which is 75 cents by Amazon, but that is going to spend money really fast. So you need to be watching it. You need to be checking on it often and just bringing down the bid if things don't work well. So we named it. We're going to just put it at 14 cents because I already have a bunch of ads already going for Bobby at higher ranks. So now we're going to come here and it wants to know what book it's running for. So I'm just going to choose the ebook for now. Sometimes this happens where Amazon will say, you know what, we're not making enough money for these ads to be profitable. So you have to lower the price of your book if you want to use this. Okay, so we move over the product. We just said, we named it, we find the product, we move it over that we're going to advertise. We leave it on automatic targeting. We set the default bid. And in this case, I said it was going to be 14 cents. Okay. And then it just wants to know, do we have any negative keyword targeting that we want? For example, I had one author who had a book title that was The Magic of such and such. And what was happening is it was getting loaded or found when people searched for things like the occult and witches and things like that. So she would put those words here and say, if somebody's looking for any of this, like occult or witchcraft or something like that, then don't show my book. I don't want people that are searching for those things to find my book. So that's what negative keyword targeting is. If you don't have anything negative, just skip over it. sometimes as we run the ads, we find certain terms that are not working well, and we can come back and we can add those terms here so that we're not paying for clicks that just aren't working. Just because you start with no negative keywords doesn't mean you can't add them later. And then all you're going to do is come down. It wants to know your daily budget. So let's just say I'm willing to spend $5 a day on this, or $1 a day, $2 a day. It takes time for Amazon to actually even start showing your book. It's never going to spend $5 a day right off the bat, but it's better to have the little bit of extra here so that you're able to get things moving. If you put $1 here and you're bidding 50 cents, that means you only can get 1 click or 2 clicks before it turns it off for the day. So I'd rather catch things in the portfolio where I say, I don't want to spend more than this much money a month. It's better for me to catch it there, but not to limit things too much with a daily budget that's really low, which a lot of people will do $1 or $2. To me, that just doesn't make sense, because there are going to be those days when things start to take off where you're not going to want to cut it off and stop it from spending. But this is one place where you can limit your spending on your ad. The last thing here is the bidding strategy. There's dynamic bids, which allow Amazon to put up and down your bid or just down only. I will always just go with fixed bids. I don't want Amazon messing with my bid. If I start at 14 cents and I see how that goes, I don't want Amazon moving it up to, double that, because as you can see here, we'll raise your bids by a maximum of 100% in real time when your ad is more likely to convert to a sale. I know they have an algorithm, but I'm much rather trust my fixed bid and adjust my bid as I see fit than have Amazon's algorithm move things up and down based on what they think, whether I could sell it or not sell it based on a bid change. So I just put fixed bids. And then the last thing is just to launch the campaign. So you have a handful of pieces of information that you're going to enter, and then you're going to click launch campaign, and the campaign launched successfully. I just noticed we didn't put it into a portfolio. So I'm just going to go back in for 1 second, go back to the campaign manager. Under the campaign name was the ability to choose the portfolio. So I could have gone in here and chosen the how-to portfolio. So the automatic campaigns, like I said, Amazon's going to just run those. One thing I can do is show you the one, maybe take an existing automatic campaign so that you can see what that looks like. There's a campaign manager, and we'll just look at an existing automatic ad. Okay, here's Freckle Fairy automatic ad. So when you go in to look at the ad, you click on the title. If you don't see targeting over here, that means you have to dig into the ad group first, and then you'll be able to see the targeting. And that's where we look at what's going on with the particular ad. With an automatic ad, they have 4 different types of things that they'll put your book in front of. They have the things with a loose match. We'll show your ad to shoppers who use terms loosely related to your products. We see substitutes. We'll show your ad to shoppers who view detail pages of products similar to yours. They do things about complements, so pages of products that complement your product. And then a close match is terms closely related to your book. Okay, so each one of these, it shows you how many impressions you've gotten, how many clicks, how much you've spent, what the cost per click was. If you're worried about, like, what does these terms mean? Again, any little I will allow you to hover over it and see cost per click. This is the average amount you've paid for each click. So having this information here, by the way, you can also customize your columns if you don't want to see certain things. Like, let's just say we don't need to see these. We want to see impressions. We want to see clicks, spend, cost per click, orders, and sales. So I just apply, and it adjusts this view here based on what I want to see. So I would normally be looking at this saying, how well are we converting? And it shows you the ACOS for each one of these. Now this down here is converting at 32%. which is really good. So the ACOS is 32%. 6 clicks, 1 order basically ends up being that 32%. Some of these, we've got a lot of clicks and a lot less orders. So some of these, like substitutes or loose matches, we may say, you know what, this is way too high of an ACOS. The cost per click on these is too high. I need to bring these down, but I'm okay with this one because it's converting at a rate that I like. So I might be willing to spend more here, but not here. So we can come over, and I probably have adjusted this already. The cost per click for these was 76 cents. So I've gone in and lowered it down to 42 cents now. So 42 cents will convert. It's much less, and try to get this down to like half as much spending on clicks, but still converting at the same level. Part of it's just adjusting things and playing with things. And if some things just aren't converting well, then you'll want to lower the bid down, or you can even, turn it off completely or turn it down to 2 cents. The reason why I would normally turn it down to like 2 cents is because if you turn it off altogether and maybe there's 4 orders waiting to hit this dashboard that just haven't been updated yet, you would not even know that if you turn this off. You wouldn't realize that, oh, this was a much higher converting bid than I thought it was. Because sometimes, like I said, the dashboard can get behind. This is how your automatic ad will look, and you'll have an opportunity to go in and check out those automatic ads. Over here under targeting, you can also look at search terms, and it shows you these are the things that Amazon put your book in front of. Somebody clicked on this book, The Best of Fancy Nancy, and Amazon showed Bobby's book. And because of that, it got a click. It spent 51 cents on the click. And then it shows you the orders that came. So this one, the Bracelet of Courage, got 13 clicks and it converted once. So if this is too high and we decide, you know what, I don't want people that are looking at this book to find my book, it's just not converting well, then that's an area where you might want to put this as a negative search term and say, I don't want that. Here, this one's converting really well. The Girl's Book of Flower Fairies, 8 clicks, 3 orders. So the ACOS on this is 17.78. So what we find in these automatic ads might make us decide, hey, I want to go target this book. I want to add it to a product ad, or I want to do something more with this one that seems to be converting really well. Here's another one that's converted well. 5 clicks, 2 orders. And this is just Bobby's other book, right? So it converts really well. And when this book is being viewed, then this automatic ad says, oh, they're going to love Freckle Fairy if they're here looking at the Knot Fairy. And people are converting on other books. Backyard Fairies, 4 clicks, 1 order. That's a great conversion rate, 19%. So if I'm looking at creating a new ad with some of the best converting books, this is a great place to look. Look at all the places, the different books that are converting well for Bobby. I might decide based on what I'm learning here with this automatic ad, I've got a handful of books that are converting well. I can do that, take a look at other ads. What else am I learning there? If these are specific books that I see that also might make me think, well, gee, if this book is converting, then there's 4 or 5 others just like it that probably would convert well too. So you can get ideas looking at the search terms and looking at the performance of your ad. You can adjust the bids down or up, and you can get more ideas here. And you can even export this list for yourself so that you can take the information, analyze it, and do something about it later. This is where I would start for any new book that's launching, is get an automatic ad or 2 or 3 up going at different bids and see what happens with your books. What kinds of things are converting and what happens. And that's at the very minimum of what I would do as I'm launching a new book. So here, this might be one of, say, 10 different things that convert well. When I go back to my campaigns, remember I told you there were different type of campaigns that you can create? Well, automatic is one. The next one has to do with product ads. So I'm going to create a new sponsored ad. So we'll find the same book, right? But instead of automatic targeting, I'm going to say manual targeting. And I want to target products. Now it says, what product do you want to target? I can click on here and enter those ASINs for those specific ones that do really well. Or remember when I said you go into Amazon and you search for things, and that tool that will allow you to export all of the best sellers based on that term you're searching? Well, you could take those best sellers and target them. They're doing well. They're at the top of the search. People are going to get in there. And when they get in there, if this is a related book and it's just bestseller in your niche, wouldn't that be awesome if your ad appears there? So you can target those best-selling ASINs, the ASINs that are converting well. And as a result of doing this product ad, then you continue to learn more. So we would target those there, and you can say which ones you want to exclude. And then you do the same thing. You set up your daily budget. You decide fixed bids always for Amazon. And then you launch that campaign. And after you've launched an ad like this, if you find 6 more that are converting next week, you can go back in and say, add six more. You don't have to create a new ad. You can just go in and say, let me update this with a new ad. If you use your naming convention, you'll see product ad for this book, product ad, this much bid, and this date. So it helps you find the right ads, and you can play around with that. The other thing with manual ads that you can do, and I'll just go through here just to show you a slightly different way of doing it, is you can go into manual targeting, and instead of product, you can do keyword. So if you've got that really great list of keywords that we found with these keyword tools that we've talked about in the past, you've got Dave Chesson's tool that pulled together some great keywords. Maybe you've used some of the other different keyword tools. You can enter a list of keywords, and you can choose those keywords and run a keyword ad. The other thing you can do also is, if you decide to do product targeting, besides the individual products, you can target categories. So let's just say that, if your book has to do with dogs and you want to target any book in the dog category, instead of having individual products, you can say, show me a category, and let's just say dog. So every category with the word dog in it is over here. And I decide I want to do the one for children's books that has dogs in it. Then you'll scroll down to that and then add it, and you can move it over here. Now, maybe you want social emotional learning. Maybe your book has a dog in it. It also has pet supplies or things like that. So you can choose the categories, and you can bid on those categories and then give that a chance and let that run for a little while. Some categories are going to convert really well. Other categories, not so much. And you might need to adjust your bid down or up based on how it does, or just turn it down to 2 cents and it won't do much of anything, but give it a chance to get your extra orders just in case that it's behind. And this is the kind of thing that you'll do. It's just a learning process. You need to do little analyzing, going in and out of these. Just getting comfortable working with Amazon ads is a little tricky. So I highly recommend, if you haven't done an Amazon ad challenge, that might be a great way to just get you familiar with working on Amazon ads. You can also go to kindlepreneur.com. They have an Amazon ads course that is completely free. Brian Cohen's Amazon ad challenge is completely free, and you can learn a lot about it. It's not going to give you every answer that you need for your book, but at least being comfortable in the environment of Amazon ads will help you get to the point where you feel more comfortable and you experiment and find the answers that are applicable to your particular book. It is like drinking from a fire hose when you first start. There's way too much knowledge and information all coming at you. But that was how it felt when you first started publishing too, right? The more you work with Amazon ads, the more you see the terms, the more you review and walk through some of this stuff yourself, the easier it'll get. I promise you. And I'm there for mentoring when you're ready for it. If you want to do some additional mentoring stuff with me, I'm happy to do that and look at books together and look at ads together, especially with keyword targeting and pulling the books that you want to target. Some of these keyword tools can be really helpful. All right. Have a wonderful day. Good night, everyone.